The galaxy was quiet that day. Stars burned like they always did. Planets moved in their orbits. Space was silent. But something had changed. Far from the center of the galactic empire, deep in the outer sectors, a listening post picked up a strange signal. At first, it seemed like background noise. But then the signal repeated. It had a clear pattern, a rhythm. It wasn't natural. It wasn't a random pulse from a dying star or drifting debris. It was artificial, intelligent, designed commander. Trell, a tall, thin alien with blue skin and 4 glowing eyes, stood over the console. He stared at the signal. His assistant's small insect-like creatures buzzed nervously around him. "Where is it coming from?" Trell asked. "Sectors 8 to 19? One assistant replied. "That's unclaimed space," Trell said. "There's nothing out there but dead systems." "Yes, Commander. Something is out there now." Terrell narrowed his eyes. "Show me." A hologram lit up. A ship appeared on the display. Large, silent, unfamiliar. It was just sitting there. Near the remains of a broken moon. No lights. No transponder. No signal, except the repeating pulse. Trell tilted his head. What species built this? No one had an answer. The Galactic Empire had existed for over 10,000 years. They had charted most of the galaxy. They had met and conquered many species. But this ship, this signal, didn't match anything in the archives. Terrell sent the data to the Imperial Science Division. Within hours, the news reached the capital. The High Council met in secret. They watched the footage again and again. "It looks old," one council member said. "It looks human," another replied. And the room fell silent. Humans, that name brought discomfort. 1,000 years ago, the Empire had discovered Earth. At the time, humans were just launching their first deep space probes. They were young, wild, primitive, but dangerous. So dangerous, in fact. The Empire had decided to avoid them. It was the only species the Empire had marked as observe, but do not engage. Humans were too unpredictable, too clever, too emotional, too chaotic. And now, a ship of unknown design, with terrifying power levels, was floating near Imperial space. It looked human, but it couldn't be. Humans didn't have this kind of technology, at least not back then. Had something changed? The Empire sent a scout team, a small ship with stealth capabilities. They moved slowly toward the mysterious warship. As they got closer, their instruments started failing. "Radiation levels are off the scale," the pilot said. "It's like it's powered by a miniature star," the engineer replied. The warship was massive, 10 times larger than the Empire's biggest battleships. But it didn't move. It didn't react. It just floated, silent and calm, like a sleeping giant. The scout ship sent back detailed scans. The hull was black and smooth, with strange patterns. Carved into it, there were no visible engines, no windows, no weapons they could see. But deep inside, something was alive, something powerful. Then, for a second, the ship lit up. Just a flash, a small glow. A warning. Every system on the scout. Ship shut down. Lights, power, engines, everything went dark. The crew panicked. They sent out an emergency beacon. But the warship did nothing else. It just returned to silence. The scout ship was dead in space. It drifted back, slowly, until another Imperial vessel rescued them. The High Council called. An emergency meeting. This time they brought in war generals. "If this is a human ship," General Varn said, "we must prepare for war." "But we don't know if it's hostile," another replied. "It shut down our scout ship with a single pulse," Varn growled. "That is a threat. But it didn't attack. It didn't destroy. It could have, but it didn't." They argued for hours. Finally, the Emperor himself spoke. "We will not act in fear," he said. "But we will not ignore this either. Send a fleet. Do not fire. Observe only. If it reacts, we decide what to do next." The fleet moved out within days. 20 ships, carriers, fighters, science vessels, all heading toward the sleeping warship. Captain Larry's, a seasoned fleet leader, was in charge. As her ships approached, she stared at the unknown vessel from her bridge window. "It's like a ghost," she whispered. The closer they got, the more strange things happened. Time felt slower. Lights flickered. Communications became unclear. One of her ships disappeared for 5 minutes, and then reappeared like nothing happened. Finally, they stopped just outside the warship's field. No one dared cross the invisible line. Then it happened. The warship powered up. No weapons were fired. No shields raised. But energy levels spiked so high that every sensor in the fleet overloaded. One science vessel exploded from the pressure. The rest pulled back in panic. Then a voice came through. It was not a language they knew, not from the Empire, but it was human, deep, cold, calm. "You are not authorized to approach. This zone is under Terran protection order. Leave now." The fleet was stunned. Captain Larry stepped back. "Terran?" she asked. "As in Earth?" The transmission repeated. Same tone, same message. And then silence. The warship powered. Down again. The Empire's fleet did not wait. They retreated. Fast. Back at the capital. The High Council listened to the message again and again. Terran protection order. Not just human. Military-grade human. And if that ship was old, then how? Far had humanity advanced since the Empire, for the first time in centuries, felt fear to be continued. The Galactic Empire was in shock. Every senator, every military officer, every scientist, they all heard the same message. This zone is under Terran protection order. Leave now. The warship had not attacked, but it didn't need to. It had spoken. It had shown power. That was enough to scare even the bravest in the Empire. In the war rooms of the Imperial capital, maps were redrawn. Sectors near the ghost ship were marked in red. Nobody wanted to go near it. Traders were told to stay away. Explorers were ordered to turn back. The Empire feared another encounter, but they had to know more. Where are the humans now? Emperor asked. No one had an answer. Earth was still there. Of course, small, blue, peaceful-looking. Imperial probes watched the planet for hundreds of years. Human cities had grown. Their technology had improved. But it didn't match what they had seen on the ghost ship. "This ship is too advanced," said Admiral Prex. "It doesn't match anything on Earth." "Then where did it come from?" the Emperor asked. No one knew. That's when a scientist named Valana came forward. She was young, smart, and curious. She had studied humans for years. Most in the Empire thought she was wasting her time. They listened carefully. "I believe the humans went dark for a reason," she said. "Stayed. They stopped sending signals into space over 600 years ago. No more radio. No more communication. Just silence. Maybe they destroyed themselves. Someone," said Valana, shook her head. "No, I think they went quiet. On purpose. Maybe to hide." The room was silent. She continued. "What if they advanced without us knowing? What if they built ships, weapons, cities far beyond our reach, you mean, in secret?" A general asked. "Yes, somewhere we can't find. It's maybe deep in uncharted space. It's maybe outside the galaxy." The thought made everyone uncomfortable. If humans had been preparing silently, patiently for centuries, what were they preparing for? The Emperor leaned forward. "I want answers, real answers. Send a spy team. Quietly. I want to know if Earth is still the center of human activity, or just a distraction." Meanwhile, something strange was happening near the ghost ship. After the Imperial fleet left, the ship remained silent for days. Then one day, without warning, it moved. It didn't jump to hyperspace. It didn't fire engines. It simply vanished. 1 second it was there, the next it was gone. No trace, no energy trail, no signal. The Empire searched everywhere. They found nothing. But 2 days later, another warship appeared. This one was even larger. It appeared near a mining colony in Sector 12, a colony under full Imperial control. Miners on the planet panicked. The sky turned black. The ship blocked out the sun. It didn't fire. It didn't land. It just hovered. A signal was sent. Terran defense ship Alpha 7 has arrived. Cease all activity. This colony violates the protection. Order. The miners had no idea what it meant. They sent messages to their command center. The Empire scrambled fighters. But before they could arrive, the warship disappeared, again just like the first one. This time, the Empire couldn't stay. Silent. We must respond, shouted General Varn. These humans are threatening our colonies? Have they attacked? Asked the Emperor. No, but they could. Then why haven't they? No one had an answer. The Empire sent more scouts. More stealth. Drones. They found small pieces of strange tech scattered across uninhabited systems. They all had one thing in common: human design, advanced, beyond anything the Empire had. Vallana studied the tech. One piece looked like a repair bot. Another was a probe. One was just a metal cube, till it scanned her. They're watching us, she said, studying, maybe even testing us. Should we prepare for war? Asked a general. Vallana paused. Maybe, but maybe. They're not here to fight. That night, an unknown signal reached the capital. It was not from any known source. It spoke in perfect galactic common. The message was simple. We remember what you did. Remember how you looked at us, watched us, judged us. You thought we were weak. You thought we were nothing. You were wrong. Then silence. Vallana listened to the message a dozen times. It's not just a warning, she whispered. It's a message from the past. The High Council grew nervous. Some wanted to surrender systems near human space. Others wanted to build new weapons. But none of them truly understood what they were dealing with. Then something terrifying happened. An Imperial warship, the Defiance, was patrolling near Sector 34. They spotted a small human vessel. Just one. Not a warship. Just a small scout craft. They chased it. For fun. For pride. They fired warning shots. They laughed. The human ship did not respond. Then in one flash, the Defiance was gone. Completely erased. Not destroyed. Not exploded. Just erased. The last log from the Imperial ship was a voice from the human vessel. This is your only warning. When news reached the capital, panic followed. Even the Emperor, calmed for centuries, stood in silence. Humans had not only returned, they were stronger than ever. And they weren't hiding anymore. They were watching. They were waiting. And they had something too. Proved to be continued. The Imperial Archive was the most protected building in the galaxy. Inside it were records of every war, every species, every event that shaped the Empire. Only a few had access to its deepest level. Vallana was one of them now, after the human ship erased the Defiance. The Emperor gave her full clearance. Find out what we missed, he told her. It's everything about humans. Vallana walked through the cold halls, past ancient scrolls and glowing data crystals. Finally, she reached a sealed vault. It had not been opened in over 700 years. Inside were the original reports from Earth. The Empire had first discovered Earth when humans had just entered the space age. They were chaotic, loud, and emotional, but fast learners. Very fast, one report said. Humans adapt faster than any species we've seen. In war, they learn. In loss, they grow stronger. They are dangerous not because of strength, but because of potential, another said. Do not engage. Let them grow. Let them destroy themselves. Do not interfere. Lana kept reading. There was a secret project. One, the Council never spoke of Project Veil. It was a mission to secretly observe human progress. Spy satellites, deep cover agents, even false signals sent to confuse human scientists. But something went wrong. The last report from Project Veil was short. Just 3 words. They found us. Vallana's heart raced. She ran more scans. The last probe near Earth had been destroyed. The log said it was hit by an energy unknown. But that wasn't the truth. It was disabled from the inside. Vallana sat in silence. The humans had discovered the spies. Instead of reacting with war, they disappeared. They shut down signals, went silent, and prepared for something. What if we caused this? Valana whispered. What if we scared them into hiding? And they used that time to evolve. Outside the archive, the galaxy was changing. Human ships were being spotted more often, always silent, always powerful. They never attacked unless provoked. But their presence alone was enough to shake the Empire. On the planet Drekel Prime, an Imperial governor ordered defenses raised after a human vessel passed by. He said, "If they come back, we'll be ready." It wasn't. The next night, every defense system went offline. The sky turned red. The governor received a single message: fear is not strength. And just like that, the humans vanished again, back on the capital world. The Emperor stood in front of the Grand Council. "We can no longer hide from the truth," he said. "Humans are no longer primitive. They are no longer lost. They are watching us, and they are waiting."
Else.
One council member asked. Waiting for what? The Emperor looked at Valana, who had just returned from the archive. "They're waiting to see if we've changed." Deep in the Empire's communication hub, a strange signal appeared. It was encrypted in a human pattern, but not one used in centuries. The text tried to decode it for hours. Then suddenly, it unlocked itself. A live message appeared. A man. Human. Gray hair, calm eyes, wearing a simple black uniform with a silver triangle on the chest. He spoke clearly. In the Empire's own language, "Greetings, leaders of the Galactic Empire. I speak on behalf of the Terran Assembly." The Empire froze. It was the first time in history that a human had contacted them directly. The man continued. "We know who you are. We remember the satellites, the silent watchers, the lies told to keep us in the dark." Paused. "We also remember your silence when we called into the stars. We waited, but no one answered." His eyes narrowed. "So we built. We learned. We grew." The man stood tall. "We are not here for war. Not yet. But we will not bow. Not now. Not ever." Then the screen went black. Across the Empire, panic spread. Citizens asked questions. Military officers prepared defenses. The council screamed for answers. Valana watched the message again. The uniform. The calm tone. "They're not angry," she said. "They're ready. It's worse." The Emperor summoned her again. "Find out everything about this Terran Assembly. Where is it based? How strong are they? What do they want?" But Valana already had a theory. "They want truth," she said. "They want to know if we're the same empire that once feared them, or if we've learned to respect them." On the border of the Empire, fleets were moving. Imperial ships armed with plasma weapons and gravity bombs, but human warships were faster, smarter. They jumped into sectors without warning, then disappeared without a trace. It wasn't war. It was a game of nerves, and the Empire was losing. Then something unexpected happened. A small Imperial transport ship was attacked by space pirates. The pirates fired on the crew, trying to steal cargo. Just as the ship was about to explode, a human vessel appeared. It destroyed the pirate ships in seconds. Then it sent a message to the transport crew: "You're safe now. This zone is under Terran protection." And once again, it vanished. The Emperor was stunned. "They're helping us," Valana nodded. "They're watching everything, not just us, the galaxy. They're acting like peacekeepers." The council didn't like that. "They think they control the stars?" one shouted. "They think they can set the rules?" But Valana had a different thought. "Maybe they're showing us what power with responsibility looks like." Far away, on a distant moon, orbiting a dead planet, another human ship arrived. It found an ancient Imperial outpost, long forgotten. Inside were the remains of the first humans taken by the Empire test subjects from centuries ago. The human ship scanned everything, then sent a new message to the Empire. "We remember your sins." The galaxy held its breath. Something was coming, and this time the humans were not going to hide. To be continued. The council chamber was filled with fear and pride. The Empire had ruled the galaxy for over 10,000 years. No species had ever dared to challenge its rule for long. Until now, the humans were different. They did not send armies. They did not conquer worlds. But they were everywhere, watching, protecting, interfering. Why do they appear when we're weak? One senator shouted. They saved a transport ship, destroyed pirates, and then disappeared. Who gave them that right? They gave it to themselves, said Valana, and no one can stop them. The emperor stood up. We are not their children to be watched. We are not insects to be observed. He slammed his hand on the table. We are the Galactic Empire. Everyone stood in silence. Then came the order. Begin Operation Iron Silence. It was the Empire's most dangerous Plan 1 that had never been used. Every ship, every weapon, every code was changed. Any human signal was to be blocked. To any human ship spotted was to be attacked without warning. Valana disagreed. This will lead to war, she warned. The Emperor looked at her. Then let it. The first battle happened in Sector 7. An Imperial fleet of 30 ships waited in silence. A human vessel entered the system. It was small, alone, an unarmed door, so it looked. The fleet opened fire without warning. For a moment, it seemed like the human ship was destroyed. Then everything stopped. The Imperial ships froze in place. Not their engines. Not their weapons. Time itself froze. For 7 seconds. Every sensor, every brain, every computer was locked in a stasis field. When the ships rebooted, the human vessel was gone, and so were the memory cores of every Imperial captain, not destroyed, erased. The message came hours later. This is not a war. This is a lesson. Don't test us again. The Empire was terrified. Their best ships had become helpless. Their proudest admirals had been humbled. Still, many in the council pushed for more action. Humans are playing games. We must strike their home planet, a general demanded, but Valana had news. They're not on Earth anymore. She showed them data collected over the last month. Earth is a symbol, a homeworld, but not their center. Not anymore. The real power comes from a place beyond our maps. She pointed to the edge of the known galaxy. They've built something out there. A massive structure. A ring-shaped station the size of a moon. It had no name in their files, but humans called it the Ark. The Ark floated at the edge of the galaxy. Far beyond Imperial sensors, it orbited a dead star in an uncharted system. To most species, it would be invisible. But for the humans, it was home. Inside, thousands of human ships were docked. Soldiers, scientists, and diplomats walked through its bright halls. AI-controlled systems hummed quietly in the background. A tall woman stood at the center of the command floor. Her name was Commander Rhine. She had led the Terran assembly for over 30 years. She was the one who ordered the first ship to reveal itself, the one who sent the message to the Empire, the one who knew exactly what was coming. A message arrived. The Empire has activated Operation Iron Silence. They have declared silent war. Rhine didn't flinch. They were always going to fight, she said. It's their way. She turned to her officers. Prepare the next step. In a chamber deep below the Ark, something old was waking up. It was called Project Echo. Created 500 years ago, Echo was a defense system unlike any other. It didn't fire missiles or lasers. It changed systems. It turned machines against their makers. It turned words into fear. With Echo, humans could defeat enemies without a single shot. Commander Rhine gave the order. Send Echo into Imperial Cornet. Let them feel what it's like to lose control. Meanwhile, on the Empire's capital world, alarms began to sound. Lights flickered. Data streams changed. Every screen began showing human symbols. Unknown code spread like fire. Military files opened. Secret projects leaked. Every citizen saw the truth. The Empire had lied about humans for centuries. Hidden the first contact. Covered up experiments. Disappeared soldiers who spoke about it. Now everyone knew. The streets erupted in panic. Riots broke out. Ships left orbit without orders. Soldiers refused commands. The Empire was falling apart. From the inside, and humans never fired a weapon. In the Grand Council, the Emperor stood alone. The generals were gone. The senators were silent. Only Valana remained. "You were warned," she said quietly. "They gave us a chance. They didn't want war. They only wanted respect." Emperor looked tired, broken, afraid. "What do they want now?" Valana looked up at the stars through the glass ceiling. "I think they want us to understand what real power means and how to use it." Thousands of light years away on the Ark, Commander Ryan received a final report. Echo, complete. Cornet compromised. Civil unrest at 78%. Empire command collapsing. Ryan stared at the data. Then she gave a new order. "Stand down all units. Let them choose. No invasion, no control. Only a choice." She walked to the observation window. "If they rise again, let it be with open eyes." Humanity had returned not to rule, but to lead, and the galaxy would never be the same, to be continued. The Galactic Empire was quiet. No ships moved in the sky. No commands came from the throne. The once great empire, feared by millions of worlds, was now uncertain. Broken from within, every citizen had seen the truth, the secrets, the lies. Fear. For so long, they believed the empire protected peace. But now, they knew the empire had also hidden the truth about humans and what they had become. Some worlds declared independence. Others begged for human protection. Some simply waited, unsure what would happen next. But no one expected what came next. A ship arrived, not a warship, not a battleship. It was a Terran envoy, vessel small, sleek, and unarmed. It entered Imperial. Space without shields, without fear. It flew straight to the capital, and the Empire led it. There was no reason to stop it. Inside the ship were 3 humans. 1 diplomat, 1 scientist, and 1 historian. No weapons, no soldiers, just words. They met with Valana. "You're the one who listened," said the human diplomat. His voice was calm. "You're the reason we're here," Valana nodded. "The Empire doesn't know how to fix what's broken." The diplomat looked around the old palace halls. "We're not here to fix your empire, only to offer a new path." The message was simple. No revenge, no war, no control. Instead, humans offered something else in alliance. A new galactic order. A system where power was shared. Where knowledge was open. Where no one ruled by fear again. Valana brought the message to the Emperor. He sat in silence. His throne, once bright with symbols of power, now seemed heavy. "They won without destroying us," he whispered. "They were always more than we believed." He looked at Valana. "Will our people accept their help?" "Some will," she said. "Some won't, but at least they will choose for themselves now." The Emperor stood, slowly, for the last time. "I will not be part of this new age," he said. "But you must help them build it." He removed his crown and handed it to no one. That day, the Empire fell not with fire or blood, but with a quiet decision, the Terran envoy broadcast their offer to every star system. Not an order, not a demand, just a message. We remember fear, remember silence, remember the feeling of being small in a big galaxy. We chose not to let that define us, and we offer you the same choice. Across the galaxy, change began. Old leaders stepped down, new voices rose. Former enemies met across tables instead of battlefields, and humans. They didn't take power, shared it. The Terran assembly began to grow not by conquering, but by connecting. The Ark became a symbol of peace. A place where species came to learn, to speak, to solve problems together. Even the youngest species, those who had just entered space, were welcomed, guided, and protected, not controlled. Protected. Valana visited Earth 1 year later. It was beautiful. Green forests, blue oceans, cities full of art and machines living together. People laughed, worked, created. They weren't gods. They were still human, but they had built something special. In the skies above Earth, Massive ships moved like silent guardians. One of them, the original warship from Sector Zeta 19, now had a name, Hopebringer. It no longer needed to scare. Its message had been heard. Valana stood beside Commander Ryan on a garden balcony. "You could have ruled everything," Valana said. "Why didn't you?" Ryan looked at the stars. "We saw what ruling by fear did. To you, we didn't want to become the same." She smiled. "Sometimes the greatest power is knowing when not to use it." Valana nodded slowly. "And what if the next empire rises with war again?" Ryan turned to her. "Then they'll find out what it means when humans stop watching and start fighting." Alana understood. Humanity had become the galaxies. Quiet guardian not because they were perfect, but because they remembered what it meant to be weak, and they never wanted anyone else to feel that way again.